The birth of democracy. Democracy comes from the Greek words demos and kratos, the power of the people. But what did the people's power really mean? And how did this idea first appear? In the 8th and 7th centuries BCE, Greek city-states, or poleis, were ruled by aristocrats. Only the noble families had political power. Wealth, politics, and authority were almost entirely in their hands. But society was changing. Trade was growing, cities were expanding, and a middle class of merchants and artisans was emerging. Suddenly, it wasn't just the nobles who wanted a say in government. Around 594 BCE, Solon stepped in with reforms. He abolished debt slavery, divided citizens into 4 income classes, and gave the lower classes some political rights. The people could participate, but only partially. True democracy had not yet arrived. About 50 years later, in 508 BCE, Cleisthenes made history with radical reforms. He replaced the tribal system with a geographic system, giving more citizens a voice. He established the 500-member boule, whose members were mostly chosen by lot. Aristocratic power was limited, and the people's voice became stronger. It was at this point that the word democracy began to take on its real meaning. But who exactly was the people? That is the question. Who was the people? In Athens, out of roughly 300,000 inhabitants, only 30 to 40,000 were considered full citizens. The Athenian democracy applied only to a small portion of the population. Women, slaves, and foreigners were entirely excluded. Women could not participate in public life, vote, or enter the assembly. Slaves formed the backbone of the city, working in agriculture, mining, and households. Democracy was built on their labor. Foreigners, or metoikoi, could trade, but never become citizens. The majority of the population were silent spectators. So we must ask, if most of the society could not participate, could this really be called democracy? Philosophers of the time weighed in. Plato criticized democracy as a system based on ignorance. He argued that the uninformed majority could make dangerous mistakes. Aristotle offered a more balanced view. Democracy served the poor, but could become corrupt without a strong middle class. The best system, he said, was politeia, a balance between the rich and the poor. How Athenian democracy worked. The heart of Athenian democracy was the ecclesia, or the assembly. Every male citizen could participate, voting on war, peace, laws, and even exile. Meetings often had up to 6,000 participants. Most government positions were filled by lottery, not election. This prevented elites from monopolizing power and gave every citizen a chance to serve. The Boule, or Council of 500, prepared the agenda for the assembly. Members were chosen by lot and managed daily government affairs. Courts, or dicasteria, were one of the most remarkable aspects of democracy. There were no judges. Juries of 200 to 1,000 citizens were chosen by lottery. The trial of Socrates is a famous example. Another mechanism was ostrakismos, or ostracism. Citizens could exile individuals they saw as dangerous for 10 years. Initially, a safeguard against tyranny, it was sometimes used against political rivals. Philosophers had their say. Socrates argued that the uninformed majority could make unwise decisions. He believed in individual moral responsibility and questioned whether the masses should have such power over the city. Strengths and weaknesses of Athenian democracy. Athenian democracy was revolutionary for its time. Citizens had direct involvement, responsibilities, and freedom of speech. Civic awareness, debate, rhetoric, and philosophy flourished, but it had flaws. Women, slaves, and foreigners were excluded. The majority could act emotionally, and charismatic leaders could manipulate public opinion. Socrates' execution highlights this vulnerability. Plato saw democracy as dangerous because the uninformed majority could make harmful decisions. Aristotle acknowledged its potential, but warned that without balance, it could degrade. Sophists and other philosophers argued that democracy was susceptible to manipulation because people often acted on emotion rather than reason. These thinkers exposed both the strengths and weaknesses of Athenian democracy, ancient and modern democracy. The Athenian model later influenced Rome, where the Republic introduced representative democracy. From there, the ideas spread across Europe. During the Enlightenment, thinkers like Rousseau, Montesquieu, and Jefferson reinterpreted popular sovereignty. Democracy was no longer just for Athenian men, it was for everyone. Modern democracies drew inspiration from Athens while correcting its flaws. Today, participation is inclusive, representative, and legally protected. But the question remains, is the public truly in control or merely watching from the sidelines? Ancient Greece had democracy, but it was incomplete. Yet it marked a giant step in human history. For the first time, someone said, government belongs to the people. Perhaps the real question is this: is democracy only about voting, or is it about thinking together, debating, and taking responsibility? Was ancient Greek democracy truly democracy? Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video. Take care.